Hey guys, it's your girl Mia Bia with the January release and cleanse. I'm so glad that you're able to join whenever you happen to be watching this. Of course, this teaching is something that is pretty timeless, so it'll help you at any stage in your life. Um, January's theme for release and cleanse is all about emotional awareness. How to use our emotional awareness as a tool for empowerment. Okay? So, if you don't know, emotional awareness is basically our ability to identify our emotions, identify what we're feeling, and why we're feeling what we're feeling. Okay? So, this season is asking us to kind of slow things down and actually feel what you've been carrying. Not necessarily to analyze it or turn it into something, but just to acknowledge it honestly. Because sometimes we have this tendency to, especially in the spiritual communities, um, is to talk about uh I went through X, Y, and Z. It hurt me, but I'm coming out on the other side. That's not processing the emotions that come with it, because what you went through hurt you. You felt away. You felt betrayed or upset or lost, or you felt fear, or you felt something. So we're not spiritually bypassing anything this month. We're actually going to hit those emotions in a deeper way. We're not touching on the surface level. We're not saying, this is what happened, but no, this is what happened and this is how I felt. If you got to cry that thing out, cry it out. That's what we're doing this month, okay? So, emotions that surface, they're not problems, right? So sometimes we've been taught that when you feel upset or you feel fear, you have to go and fix it. Like maybe I'm at work and I find out that somebody was talking about me behind my back at work. Um, it's not for me to go and fix it. I may be upset. I may be like, hey, you don't even know me. You didn't give me a chance to, introduce myself to you, or you're not giving me a chance to get to know me before you are talking about something you don't know about. Um, you know, that's like, you're feeling anger, you're feeling sadness because, okay, this person is low key rejecting me and they don't even know me, right? So most of our instinct is to go in that thing and defend ourselves, right? You don't have to defend yourself. Uh, a regulated nervous system does not defend itself against emotions. It's supposed to feel the emotion, but not defend itself. We are taught as children to protect ourselves when we feel certain emotions, like anything that is tagged on to like rejection or abandonment. Those particular emotions that are connected to abandonment and rejection, those emotions make you automatically mask, right? And they make you feel like you need to defend yourself because no one's there to defend you or protect you, and the person that you thought was supposed to defend or protect you isn't doing that for you, right? So seeing the emotion not as something that you should fix, but seeing it as data, seeing it as information, seeing it as something that's asked to be witnessed. Okay, many of us, like I said, were conditioned to suppress, bypass, or minimize our feelings just to survive. But this moment that we're standing in for this month of January, I'm asking you to feel those things and tell the truth to yourself, even if you don't talk to anybody else about it. But be true with you and say, you know what? This is how I feel. and say it confidently without feeling shame behind it. Okay? So, one of the journaling prompts for this month is going to be what emotions have I been pushing aside or avoiding lately? Okay. Um, Honesty, of course. Honesty. This if we want to get past or move through this thing or move through whatever we've been dealing with, honesty is always important. And if you can't be honest with yourself, you dang sure can't be honest with anybody else. So being honest with yourself first and foremost is very important. Okay. My second point, allowing us to have this emotional awareness, we're able to redefine what safety and support looks like for ourselves. Because, like I said, we're often taught to bypass or suppress, put those words together, bypass or suppress our emotions or how we feel just to survive. But now that we're grown, we can make the decision on our own to get through those things to where we don't have to push it down and not feel it, because that just does that we're building resentment, you know what I'm saying, in those situations. So what we're doing, usually when we feel emotions or we feel a way because someone upset us or someone or something upset us, we try to seek safety in something external. So validation, you want your ego stroked. You're looking for someone else to provide you with what this other person wasn't able to give to you, or seeking to control a situation or a person because of the emotions that came up in said situation, right? This portion of things, it creates instability internally, because now you always are going to look for your external validation and these external things to stabilize you, and then you can't stabilize yourself. So you're outsourcing your emotional regulation to another person, place, or thing. And in our time now, our situation now, our the way that things are going, so many people are numbing themselves with pills and alcohol and drugs and sex and those things to try to bring some type of stability, when in all actuality you're just repeating the same cycle because you haven't really tackled the root, which is feeling those emotions and processing them, right? So this is highlighting ways that you may be outsourcing your sense of security and where it's time to reclaim it at, okay? Safety doesn't mean that everything is comfortable, because we think that, we're always supposed to feel good and we're always supposed to be comfortable and it's supposed to be a warm, fuzzy hug. And that's not how life is, right? We are learning how to manage ourselves inside of situations that can be discomforting, okay? The discomfort is gonna come. What the Bible say? The weapons are gonna definitely form, but they won't prosper because of how you are managing yourself in the situation. The suffering is inevitable, but it won't feel like suffering if you ask the question, what is the lesson, or what do I need to learn, or what is this showing me? What data is this giving me? That's what the emotions are there for, okay? The third, we have our journal question. Our second journal question is, it's a two-part question, okay? What currently makes me feel emotionally safe? And where have I been relying on others or situations to feel secure? Okay? And you can even throw this one in there. Here's a bonus. What would it look like to create safety within myself? Okay? Those are questions that we're asking ourselves for the second point. Now, y'all know I always have 4 points, so here's the third point, right? So some emotional patterns, they stay with us because they're familiar, not because they're true, right? So you have to get to a point where you're able to release those emotional burdens and the old narratives that are tied to the emotions, right? So as a child, again, when you experience that first moment of hurt, and usually your first heartbreak or hurt is coming from a parent, right? So this person brought me into this world and they caused me to feel this emotion of rejection or abandonment or whatever the emotion was, right? 9 times out of 10, the emotion that you felt was because you didn't have the bandwidth to process it at that time. So children have to be taught how to process their emotions. And if you have a parent that can't process their emotion, then you're definitely going to have a child that can't process their emotions, because if the parent can't do it, then they're not going to be able to teach the child how to do it either. So we don't think about these things, right? So in parenting, it's important to be able to teach your child and model the behaviors of how to manage your emotions, okay? So if your situation looks like your parent couldn't manage your emotions, 9 times out of 10, the parent was in survival mode, right? So the child is born into survival and they're taught survival. Okay, that can definitely shape how we see ourselves and our lives later on as adults, as teenagers, as parents ourselves, right? So this is the opportunity for us to release the emotional weight that has been caused and carried due to these outdated narratives of things that happened to us when we were children. Sometimes it looks like having to process those moments that we dealt with that made us feel the fear or the hurt or the rejection or the betrayal. And it looks like my parent was not there for me because they were working all the time and they were never at home, so I never got to see them. And they never came to this or that, and they never did this or that. Okay. As a child, you feel like work is more important than me. That's how your brain processes it, right? But as an adult, when you get into that situation, you see it as, I gotta work to make money, to pay bills, to make sure I have a house, to make sure there's food on the table, to make sure I have a car, to make sure my kids got clothes, to make sure, right? So there's 50,000 things going through your mind when you become the parent. Then you got to give some grace to your parent, and you have to rewrite the story to say, man, I know I felt like my parent rejected me or abandoned me or wasn't there for me, but I see how hard it is to be a parent myself. And I'm going to have to forgive them because they was just doing the best they could with what they had for the most part, right? So that's how we retell these stories. We rewrite our own narratives, and it's an intentional process, but it's a healing process. And when you can forgive that situation, forgive that person or whatever, that opens up so much. So let me tell you, we're going to eventually talk about forgiveness and how it is a mother, okay? And how people end up really, you can ruin parts of your life because of unforgiveness. But anywho, we're forgiving, we're moving on, and we are changing those outdated narratives due to how we, release these emotional weights, right? So questions: what emotional patterns keep repeating in my life? Because listen, once you see that, again, those same narratives that you had as a child, when you go and you're grown and you're in a relationship and somebody is like working all the time or they're not giving you enough attention, then you're going to automatically think that they don't like you, and then you're going to feel abandoned, and then you're going to feel rejected, and then you're going to feel like you got to go over here and do something. Now you ruin the relationship instead of being able to process your emotion and have a conversation. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a huge like snowball effect, and we don't realize how much that affects us. So what emotional patterns keep repeating in my life? What story have I been telling myself about who I am or what I deserve? And what am I ready to release so I can move forward as a lighter being, right? Now, final point, returning home to ourselves. Okay, so after you're able to release, then you can reconnect. So this is the time where you're going to think and remember who you are beneath all of the coping mechanisms, beneath the armor, beneath all the expectations. And when you feel anchored within yourself, clarity can begin to come to you on a natural basis because you've released the emotions that were attached to certain situations. Now you can see things from a different perspective, and it's like everything, the color is brighter, and the sun is brighter, and things are different in that sense, right? And it's not about forcing yourself to change. It's about actually allowing yourself to align with the proper energetic frequency. And once you release those things, it's like a natural cleanse. You're releasing those emotions, you're releasing those old narratives, and you've naturally realigned yourself, naturally cleansed your own timeline so you can move forward, right? So the final question that we're asking ourselves is, when do I feel most like myself? What practices help me feel grounded and connected? And what intention do I want to carry forward after this release? Okay. Now, when we're releasing, we're going to do one final thing as this is coming to a close, okay? As we're releasing, I want you to put a hand on your heart. I want you to put your hands on your heart just like this, right? I want you to take a few deep breaths. I want you to regulate your emotions right now. Breathe and feel yourself calm down. Once you feel yourself calm down, then I want you to feel whatever comes up after listening to this. After listening to what I said, I want you to feel whatever comes up, whatever situations may have come up, whatever emotions may have come up, whatever childhood experiences may have come up when I said the things that I was saying. Sometimes they'll trigger, events or thoughts of events so that you can process them, okay? And I want you to begin to replay them in your mind. And once you replay them in your mind, I want you to stop the tape, rewind it, and I want you to press record instead of pressing play so that you are creating your new narrative for what happens going forward. You don't have to have everything figured out, right? It's life. You learn. There's continuous lessons, okay? You just have to be intentional about your healing. You have to be intentional about moving forward and intentional about growth, okay? So that is the end of Release and Cleanse for January. I will be posting some more great information about emotional awareness and how it connects us to emotional intelligence. I also have a lot of stuff happening. So a few things will be changing. You will notice. But I'll make another announcement moving forward as far as things shifting and changing. But hope to see you guys soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Thanks.